heaven and hell. The conjunction of heaven with the human race. 296. Man is governed by the Lord through spirits because he is not in the order of heaven, for he is born into evils which are of hell, thus into the complete opposite of divine order. Consequently, he needs to be brought back into order, and this can only be done immediately by means of spirits. It would be otherwise if man were born into the good that is in accord with the order of heaven. Then he would not be governed by the Lord through spirits, but by means of order itself, thus by means of general influx. By means of this influx, man is governed in respect of whatever goes forth from his thought and will into act, that is, in respect of speech and acts, for both of these flow in harmony with natural order, and therefore with these the spirits adjoined to man have nothing in common. Animals also are governed by means of this general influx from the spiritual world, because they are in the order of their life, and animals have not been able to pervert and destroy that order because they have no rational faculty. What the difference between man and beasts is may be seen above. The difference between men and beasts is, that men are capable of being raised up by the Lord to himself, of thinking about the divine, loving it, and being thereby conjoined to the Lord, from which they have eternal life, but it is otherwise with beasts. Beasts are in the order of their life, and are therefore born into things suitable to their nature, but man is not, and he must therefore be led into the order of his life by intellectual things. According to general influx, thought with man falls into speech and will into movements. The general influx of the spiritual world into the lives of beasts. 297. As to what further concerns the conjunction of heaven with the human race, it ought to be known that the Lord himself inflows with each man, in accordance with the order of heaven, both into his inmosts and into his ultimates, and disposes him to receive heaven, governing his ultimates from his inmosts, and at the same time his inmosts from his ultimates, thus holding each thing and all things in connection in man. This influx of the Lord is called immediate influx, while the other influx that is effected through spirits is called mediate influx. The latter is maintained by means of the former. Immediate influx, which is that of the Lord himself, is from his divine human, and is into man's will and through his will into his understanding, and thus into his good and through his good into his truth, or what is the same thing, into his love and through his love into his faith, but not the reverse. Still less is it into faith apart from love, or into truth apart from good, or into understanding that is not from will. This divine influx is unceasing, and in the case of the good is received in good, but not in the case of the evil. With them it is either rejected or suffocated or perverted, and in consequence they have an evil life which, in the spiritual sense, is death. There is an immediate influx from the Lord, and also immediate influx through the spiritual world. The Lord's immediate influx is into the least particulars of all things. The Lord inflows into firsts and at the same time into ultimates. In what manner? The Lord's influx is into the good with man, and through the good into truth and not the reverse. The life that inflows from the Lord varies in accordance with the state of man and in accordance with reception. With the evil, the good that inflows from the Lord is turned into evil and the truth into falsity from experience. the good and the truth therefrom that continually inflow from the Lord are received just to the extent that evil and falsity therefrom do not obstruct. 298. The spirits who are with man, both those conjoined with heaven and those conjoined with hell, never inflow with man from their own memory and the thought derived therefrom, for if they should inflow from their own thought, man would not know but that whatever belonged to them would be his own. Nevertheless, there inflows with man through them out of heaven an affection belonging to the love of good and truth, and out of hell an affection belonging to the love of evil and falsity. Therefore, as far as man's affection agrees with the affection that inflows, so far is that affection received by him in his thought, since man's interior thought is wholly in accord with his affection or love. But so far as man's affection does not agree with that affection, it is not received. Therefore, as thought is not introduced with man through spirits, but only an affection for good and an affection for evil, it is evident that man has choice. Because he is freedom, and is thus able with his thought to receive good and reject evil, for he knows from the word what is good and what is evil. Whatever he receives in thought from affection also is appropriated to him, but whatever he does not receive in thought from affection is not appropriated to him. From these considerations, the nature of the influx with man of good out of heaven, and of evil out of hell, can be confirmed. 299. I have also been permitted to know the source of human anxiety, grief of mind, animus and interior sadness, which is called melancholy. There are spirits not as yet in conjunction with hell, because they are in their first state. These will be described in the following pages where the world of spirits is dealt with. These spirits love things undigested and unprofitable, such as pertain to food becoming foul in the stomach. Consequently, they are present where such things are with man, because they find delight in them, and they talk there with one another from their own evil affection. The affection that is in their speech inflows from this source with man, and when this affection is the opposite of man's affection it becomes in him sadness and melancholy anxiety, but when it is in agreement it becomes in him gladness and cheerfulness. These spirits appear near to the stomach, some to the left and some to the right of it, and some beneath and some above, also nearer and more remote, thus variously in accordance with the affections in which they are. That this is the source of anxiety of mind has been shown and proved to me by much experience. I have seen these spirits, I have heard them, I have felt the anxieties arising from them. I have talked with them. When they have been driven away the anxiety ceased, when they returned the anxiety returned, and I have noted the increase and decrease of it according to their approach and removal. From this, it has been made clear to me why some who do not know what conscience is, because they have no conscience, ascribe its pain to the stomach. Those who have no conscience do not know what conscience is. There are some who laugh at conscience when they hear what it is. Some believe that conscience is nothing, some that it is something natural that is sad and mournful, arising either from causes in the body or from causes in the world, some that it is something pertaining to the common people as a result of their being religious. There is true conscience, spurious conscience, and false conscience. Pain of conscience is an anxiety of mind on account of what is unjust, insincere, or in any respect evil, which man believes to be against God and against the good of the neighbor. Those have conscience who are in love to God and in charity towards the neighbor, but those who are not so have no conscience. 300. The conjunction of heaven with man is not like the conjunction of man with man, but the conjunction is with the interiors of man's mind, that is, with his spiritual or internal man. But there is also a conjunction with his natural or external by means of correspondences, which will be spoken of in the next section, where the conjunction of heaven with man by means of the Word is to be dealt with. 301. It will also be shown in the next section that the conjunction of heaven with the human race and of the human race with heaven is such that the one continues in existence from the other. 302. I have talked with angels about the conjunction of heaven with the human race, and I said that, while the man of the church declares that all good is from God, and that angels are with man, yet few believe that angels are conjoined to man, still less that they are in his thought and affection. To this the angels replied that they know that there is such a belief and even such a mode of speaking in the world, and especially, to their surprise, within the church, where yet there is the word to teach men about heaven and its conjunction with man. Nevertheless, there is such a conjunction that man is unable to think the least thing apart from the spirits adjoined to him, and on this his spiritual life depends. They said that the cause of ignorance of this matter is man's belief that he lives from himself, without a connection with the first being of life, and that he does not know that this connection exists by means of the heavens. And yet if that connection were broken, man would instantly fall down dead. If man believed, as is really true, that all good is from the Lord and all evil from hell, he would not make the good in him a matter of merit, nor would evil be imputed to him. For he would then look to the Lord in all the good he thinks and does, and all the evil that inflows would be cast down to hell whence it comes. But because man does not believe that there is any influx into him either from heaven or from hell, and so supposes that all the things that he thinks and wills are in himself, and therefore from himself, he appropriates the evil to himself, and the inflowing good he defiles with Snorit. Next, I will write the conjunction of heaven with man by means of the word one. Thank you.